There are some native milkweed here that has been here for about the last 3 years, and I just keep letting it grow and I keep harvesting the seeds. That melon shall be harvested soon. Likewise with that one, and these might go to the chickens because they are tiny. And so the vine is dried out, so it's the indicator that it's ready to be harvested. I harvested a bigger bitter melon yesterday, and now this one is about 3 inches, and hopefully it matures in time. Oh my goodness, I didn't see this one here. It was hiding. It's much bigger than that other one. So that'll be harvested next. It looks like it has a few more days. And another thing that you need to know about bitter melon is it ripens, it gets fruit and ripens later in the summer when it's hotter. It requires the hotter temperatures than, say, the melons. So that's the reason why they're thriving right now. And it's climbing quite high. Right, so today I'm going to be harvesting some eggplants that look like they're about ready. And never fails to have 1 or 2 snacking peppers that are ready. Harvested these so far, and I'm giving this amaranth to the chickens to munch on. And that is my final haul. A little tulsi for tea, some melons, and we'll make some food today with it. There are a couple eggplants, but they're still kind of little, so I'm gonna give them a couple more days to ripen up or get bigger. And a couple new flowers, so hopefully we'll get more fruit. I love the beautiful purple color. And it looks like my bean that I grew in the fall season is filled with black flies, so that's really annoying. This is the first year I encountered black flies. It's on the new flowers as well. I guess I don't get to have that. Okay, so I'm gonna go put the harvest inside, and then I'm going to water the plants today. It's going to get to the triple digits. I'm not sure if it was because of the storm we had that made the temperatures go down, but for some reason I've been waiting for these tomatoes to ripen for the longest time, and they're taking forever. They've been on here for at least 2 weeks, and they're not turning yellow. So that's a little frustrating too. But on the other hand, the plants looking rather decent. I have to get in there and get rid of the yellow leaves, but it's a little hard to get into that jungle. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to show you some of the tasks that I have to tackle. So here I have all this dead foliage from the tomato plant, the big boy hybrid that produced tons of foliage, but not many fruit. Gonna pull it out because it's at the end of its leg. So I'm going to remove all the foliage from that bed there for the tomato, and then I'm going to use that Bell & Country bed someplace else for new crops for the winter. As you can see, it had a really good root system. I mean, that's a lot of roots right there. A honkin' big root. And it was right there in that hole. And I pulled all of that out. Gonna compost that. It just kind of died because I stopped watering it, and especially during those 100 and something degree days, because all it was doing was pushing out lots of greens, and the pesky raccoons or whatever were eating the tomatoes off of it. So I might as well use this bed and the soil elsewhere for new crops for winter and spring, or for fall and winter. There's the rest of the dried up crusty branches and foliage, so that has to be composted. By the way, chickens cannot eat the green parts, the leaf parts of the tomato. That's why tomato was also known as henbane. So now that I've gotten the tomato corpse out, I'm going to dig up the soil that's here. It's really good soil, and I'm going to put it into a bag, and I'm going to remove this Bell & Country fire ring. And this whole space I've been pulling up canna lilies and other plants. I had some borage growing over here. Tons of bees loved it and pulled those out. Possibly we'll be pulling out that loquat. We are still deciding because it's doing really good right there. So not sure about that. Eventually we're going to clear out these tomato plants. Right now it's got tons of flowers and lots of tomatoes, so we're going to keep it there till the end of October. But it definitely is cooling down a lot. It went from the hundreds to the 90s. Now it's in the 80s and rapidly going down to the 70s, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So the nights are about in the 60s and the 50s. So here we had a big wooden raised bed. We pulled out the bed, so all there is just the soil. One remaining brassica. I'm going to pull it up and give it to the chickens. A Cuban oregano and a basil. But over here I had transplanted a watermelon plant that was in a pot. It doesn't do well in pots. It needs like a nice area to roam, and the leaves were turning yellow when they were in the pot, so I transplanted the plant over here. And earlier in the season it was like a small watermelon, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't see it because of all the tomato leaf and the watermelon leaves covering it, but it is quite big, but it's kind of odd shaped. But anyhow, I'm not going to harvest it yet because the stump here is still green. You kind of have to wait till it dries out, and it's not ready yet, and there's still sun yet. So I've removed the fire ring, as you can see where it used to be, the circle there. There are some onion bulbs in there, I think, because it started off as a onion bulb bed. Then I added some green beans, and then then I added the tomato that took over. Over here I've got some empty soil bags, and it used to be so sad. I would buy a ton of soil and I would put it in my garden beds, and then I would feel really sad about all that plastic that was going into the landfill, because you empty a bag of soil and then you've got the bag that's a plastic that takes forever to degrade. And I had started using the bags to cover my water troughs and other things, so to prevent mosquitoes. I have used it as trash bags. I have used it to cover the chicken coop so that the rain doesn't go into it, the chicken run when it rains. I've used it for shade for the chickens, all kinds of stuff. So these are fantastic. You can cut them up to the size you want. You can leave them intact as a trash bag. It's come in handy. I've gathered mulch that I got, fresh mulch from the city, and I've gathered it into these bags to give to my family for their gardens. So it's fantastic. So that's what I'm gonna use to fill that soil over there that was in the fire ring, and I'm gonna reuse that soil. And just like Jessie from plot 37, she and her mother, I love their channel, they reuse their bags to grow potatoes in, and they use them as trash bags, and they use them to line their compost bin or their leaf mulch bin. So I really love that they don't just rip it open and toss it afterwards. Done. So it's actually not level anymore, it's actually concave, and some of the soil's in here and most of the soil is in here. Sorry about that. And as much as I'd like to be no dig, that soil's really good. It was from a bag I bought from Costco, and I only used it for a year, and it's being in a bag is going to keep it from getting weed seeds in it, and it's going to further compost down in the bag, as there are several of those wood lice in there breaking things down, and the soil is still pretty good. We had some mulch wood chips brought in about 2 years ago or a year ago, and it's been breaking down here, and that's why we have quite the mound here. So after we pull up this Cuban oregano, basil, and brassica, as well as that last watermelon, we're gonna possibly move that and bring the chicken coop and run over here, so they'll be close to the wall and they'll have shade and maybe some respite over here. They've been in this location. Let's swing over here. It looks untidy because we've been moving things around. They've been in this location for about 2 or 3 years, so it's time to move them so they get nice fresh soil. And that soil by the wall is nice and soft, and this is fairly new mulch from, what was it, a year, I say? A year and a half. Next, we also have to contend with this giant ginger plant. Gotta dig it up and see what treasures are down there. Okay, so today's the next day, and I really gotta change my app for the weather, because it just said that it would be cloudy and that it wouldn't rain yesterday, and we had a little bit of a sprinkle, and initially it said it was gonna have thunderstorms, and then it said it wouldn't, and then it did have one great big thunder, and then so now it looks like clouds are rolling in, and we'll see what tonight is going to be like. Unfortunately, I have got 0 tomatoes here. Some flowers I have, but 0 tomatoes from these heirloom seeds, heirloom tomatoes. I'm about to harvest some shiso, so let's go do that. On the way to the shiso, I wanted to show you, I dug up some more of the dirt. It's really beautiful soil that I placed in that bag. So now I have 2 full bags, and I have 2 other bags that are full of good soil. And as soon as this watermelon's done, I'm gonna pull it out, pull out that one melon, and dig up some of this soil into some bags. We'll move the chickens over here. Wow, the lizards are running everywhere, all over the yard, which I love, because anything that eats bugs, I love. So here's the shiso. It's quite tall, and I'm going to harvest them because I'm going to my mom's house, and we're eating some egg rolls on some rice noodles, and this herb can go into it, and it's called vermicelli, and it's a really yummy noodle dish. So this shiso offers a flavor of its own, and it's perfect for it since I have so much of it. And in fact, some of it's already starting to go to seed, but it's okay. I do want to propagate more, and you can easily propagate it from the stem here. So that's what I'm going to do now, because it's starting to thunder. I'm kind of worried, so I'm going to do this quickly and go inside. So this is how much I harvested, and let me show you the bush. This is a different angle of it, and it was growing out towards my citrus plant, and here it is, more of it, and it was right adjacent to my guava, which it actually protected it, because this one is quite sensitive. It's the tropical pink guava, and the leaves were starting to wilt and turn brown, and it's highly sensitive to this Southern California heat. So I'm kind of glad I grew it. I placed the pot right here next to the shiso. It just happened to be by chance, not by my own planning there. Oh yes, so while I'm here, I'm gonna pick this fig. Yeah, it's kind of soft. I saw it about 4 days ago. Keep forgetting about it. It's nice and reddish, and I'll bring it inside and have it. So shiso keeps really well. I mean, I know it keeps well because I washed it last time and I dried the leaves, and I put them in a Ziploc bag, and they lasted like 3 weeks, and I ate them over time. I just threw them in some noodles and stuff like that, and they are full of antioxidants because of the purple color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash it out here in my outdoor sink and save that water to water my plants. Recycle the water, because we definitely need it. If it does rain tomorrow, it is welcomed, and it's been a long time coming. As you can see, we have a ginger plant here, and it is quite tall. It's probably 7 feet tall, and it's quite bushy. It's about 3 years old. We transplanted it in here about 2 years ago, so it was already a year old. And so I'm gonna cut some of these leaves off and chop and drop them, and they actually have a scent to them, a gingery scent, so I'm hoping that'll ward off other critters or confuse pests. So I'm gonna cut some of these branches because it's getting into my raspberry cane and into my donut peach tree, so I'm gonna lighten the load here and provide more sun to my other plants. Ta-da! So that's where it was. The leaves were impinging on my plants here. I might move that raspberry. I'm not sure yet. In the meantime, here are some of the branches from the ginger plant, and over there is the rest of it, which is up against the wall, so it's fine. I'm leaving it there for now. We'll dig it up and see what we find in a little bit. And here's a quick update on all the little tiny sweet peas, snap peas, some growing. So they're being protected under this cage, because if I had not placed this cage here, then it would have been dug up, because as you can see, this hole right here, things keep coming over here like possums and raccoons, and they keep trying to dig it up. So I'm just protecting my plants until they're tall enough. And birds like to eat little seedlings too. So, and then I put all this chop and drop canna there as a little tunnel, and if they dig near it, they've dug this area several times already, which is quite annoying, but so far it's proving to be quite useful. As you can see, I cleaned it up quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is pull that up in a little bit, but I also finally dug up the rhizomes, the roots of the canna there. I had a few left, and I dug it up, cleaned it up, and next will be that stuff and this stuff here, and coop's gonna go right there. As you can see, it's truly chop and drop. I just chop it and drop it here, and it has its own scent, so I'm hoping it'll deter pests. And over here we have a lot of lemon tree leaves, because we cut the lemon tree down, and we have a lot of leaves from our pomegranate, which used to be very green and lush, green and red. Oops, sorry about that, my gimbal's not working. And now it is just dropping the leaves. It does that in the fall. And I have this little bird chili pepper right here, and it only produced the fruit once this year, and then it just remained like that and never made more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this chili pepper tree down to some stems, and I'm going to put a ton of leaves right underneath it to help it overwinter. And hopefully next year I'll have many more fruit, because those are really good chili peppers. So now that I have trimmed it down, and here's another sister plant right next to it that didn't really make too many fruit this year, I might chop it down a little more. Then I put a lot of mulch underneath it. And to prevent stuff from digging, I'm going to get the branches that I chopped off and just put it all around the edges here, so the mulch won't be dug away from the bottom of the plant, and it'll keep it nice and warm for the winter. Hi friends, I just wanted to show you how much food you can get from your trees, your own personal food forest, or your own personal fruit tree. So my mom gave me a huge box of persimmons, and this year they're humongous. They're giant ones. I already ate one, and I already gave one to my son to give to one of his teachers. And she gave me, this is the second batch of white guava, Asian guava. And she gave me some grapefruits and a lot of pomegranates. And she's already given me the white white guava before. She's given me 3 bags of longan, big bags. So this is pomelo, 2 pomelos, and the pomegranates, which are really, really big as well. So we're going to be feasting on that. And I was looking through the ads at the store, and I was about to buy some apples and things, but you know what? I need to go through these as well. She also gave me a papaya. Here's the papaya. It's not quite ready, but you can eat it like a Thai salad where it's not ripe, or you can wait till it ripens on the counter. So we'll be working through all this food, and I still have 1 watermelon and several melons in the house. So there's a lot of food, and I don't need to go to the store to buy it. Okay, so it didn't rain last week. So even though it had thunder and stuff like that, so forecast says 40% chance of rain tomorrow. So we gotta harvest all the sweet potatoes. We have 3 patches of sweet potatoes. So here's one gigantic one. Here's another that spans almost everywhere, and we've already harvested from this one and the previous one I just showed you, the leaves. And here is the other one, and so it's the 3rd patch, and we've harvested the leaves from this one as well. So we've had several rounds of eating the sweet potato leaves. We've cooked them with some garlic, and so now first thing I'm gonna pull up the sweet potato vines. I'm gonna cut them at where the roots come out, so that way it gives me an idea of where the sweet potatoes are. So we'll see what we get. So I've been digging this first spot that I was showing you, and this is what I pulled out. That enormous amount, and then I've been putting them in this container here, and some of them are enormous, and I barely watered this area at all. All it got was rainwater, and occasionally I would sprinkle some water over the aloe, and it had been covering the aloe, and that climbing aloe is very it's a fast grower, because I grew it at the same time that I grew this aloe, a regular aloe, and it split into 2 plants, or maybe even a 3rd. But this one is like a crazy animal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 heads. But anyhow, I'm gonna collect this. I'm gonna downsize those to just 1 plant. Keep these because I like how they grow nice and straight, and we'll see what we're going to do about those plants there. And in the meantime, we're going to work on the sweet potatoes. So this is the 3rd spot. I cut some of the foliage out, and that way it'll lead me to where I should be digging around. Sorry about the background noise. My husband is shredding some branches because we started to burn some of the branches from the lemon tree and from that weed paper mulberry tree, and someone called and complained about it to the city, to the firemen, and they said that we can't have fires here, even though it's a controlled burn in a pit, in a little mini pit. So that's unfortunate. So we're just gonna, he's just using this wood shredder, wood chipper thing, but it's like really tiny. It can only take like 1-inch branches. So this place has been dug up really good, And surprisingly, it didn't have that many sweet potatoes. This was the first place that the leaves started popping up, but this is what we got from the third section. The middle section is the one that's difficult because it's kind of in the food forest, and I've got to move some pots of things around to get in there. And we'll see how well that does, because that one gets watered a lot, that area in the second spot. So this was the third spot, and it was a decent harvest, really. We have some really big sweet potatoes here. A couple big ones here. A long one here. So, not bad. So this area here, is chock full. It's the middle portion, the second portion, chock full of sweet potato leaves and vines all the way, filling up this whole entire area. Here are some still, and it was climbing up my pineapple guava tree, and cleared out most of the leaves except for way back there, and I'm gonna dig it up and see what we got. So that was all that there was in the third part where I watered it the most. That's strange, huh? It was the shadiest spot because it was under all these trees and stuff, so maybe that's why there weren't very many sweet potatoes. But the vines just kind of went all over on the surface, so it looked like a lot more than it really was. Okay, so that is what we plucked today. That there. And I was going to harvest the sweet potato leaves to make something, but it was way too much work digging out all these areas just to get the sweet potatoes, so I'm already too tired to deal with the leaves. So there we are. Have a great day.